Welcome to the Community Difference Plano. Powered by the Difference Media LLC. And hosted by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial. And sponsored by Home Smart Stars. PBJ Mortgage. Gaston Investments. Jim Thomas, Business Consulting and Funding. Diane Castle with Castle to Castle. Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators. Asia Mahmood with Windhaven Academy. And by Lauren Gill with My Live, Love, Travel.
The Community Difference Plano was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals.
So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts and insights about being a professional along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Plano starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Community Difference Plano, a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. It is 11:32. I'm your host, Nathan Smith with the Enfuego Group, where we empower individuals to live life on fire and aspire entrepreneurs how to fire their boss, right? We want to help people escape the corporate world and get into the exciting world of being an entrepreneur. So we're dedicated to inspiring and igniting ambition. Today is the start of the month of May. Every time May starts, I can't help but think of that NSYNC song that ends in "It's Gonna Be Me," but it sounds like May, and that's like this thing that's been happening for the past 20 years. So if you're in your 30s to 40s, you understand that. If you're 20, you're like, who's in sync? That's okay. I don't blame you. But we've got an exciting show lined up today. We've got a brand new topic that we're going to be discussing in our third segment. We had a phenomenal topic talking about creativity innovation back in April. If you have not had a chance, go back and take a listen to those shows. But for the month of May, starting today, digital media mindset, turning social media into service media. We're going to go over some simple strategies for expanding your social media presence. So you actually put content out there that is watchable, and it sounds a little harsh, but that people want to see, but that you become someone that is connecting and providing a service rather than just talking about yourself or your business, which unfortunately a lot of people still take that approach, and it's obviously not working very well. So that'll be in our third segment. We'll dive right in at that point. We've got some very special guests on the show today, but before we get to them, I want to introduce our co-host. Will get us off to a quick start here. A native Texan. She's been in the mortgage or lending space for 20 years with the goal of educating, empathizing, and empowering customers on what is, in fact, the biggest financial purchase of their lives, their house. Please welcome to the show, Jacqueline Crider with PBJ Mortgage. Jacqueline, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am just wonderful. I'm excited for May.
I was going to say, I loved your NSYNC reference because I am
you.
definitely like, that was my first major concert as, you know.
Me too. I went to the celebrity tour at Old Texas Stadium in 2002 with my best friend, who is now a partner in business with me.
Nice. I was there too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the field. Burning up in August, right?
Yes, I think it was August. It was very hot.
Yeah, I was like, why did you guys decide to do an outdoor video in August in Texas? But, you know, whatever. It's fine.
We like to start our shows by talking about concert events from 25 years ago, just in case anyone's listening. But we won't bore anybody else with that. But it's funny. That's so weird that you were there. How exciting! And then let's see what concert Jim's been to last. Let's bring on Jim with FM Consulting, the well-known founder and president of Fitness Management USA, a guru, we like to call him, in the world of business funding, specifically around, but not limited to, the fitness world, and really a great friend of the show. Jim, good morning to you, sir.
Well, good morning. It's great to be here. I don't know if I can really add to the concert. I think maybe I saw a Beatles knockoff band at Disneyland a few years ago.
Was it Hard Knight's Day by any chance?
It was, I think the Fab Four is what they called
that's what they called
themselves.
it? Okay.
And they were actually terrific, but I think that might have been the last one, if that even counts.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that's in the Beatles cover band. He's been there for probably 20 years, probably. It's called Hard Night Stay, but they're more local, so I'm not sure
Nice.
if they.
There's some really
they made
good
up these
groups
deals.
like that do, the Beatles, music. They do a great job, a lot of them.
Yeah, 100%. I like cover bands. I mean, I think they're even. I mean, especially if you can't get the real band, or if the real band's dead, most of them. So that's a problem. So let's bring in our first guest today. I'm excited to meet with her. Foundation for Choice. She's the founder of Foundation for Choice in 2014, which is a phenomenal nonprofit that helps kind of bridge the gap between low-income students who are on the verge of dropping out of college, and just gives them the opportunity to actually be successful, to really to change the dynamic, which is unfortunately so prevalent with our school-age kids today. And phenomenal human being, great person, lots of business background in a number of areas. I noticed that she used to be a franchise owner of Saxby's Coffee. I have to ask her about that. But let's bring on to the show Jessica Bartnick. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So where is Saxby's? What is that? I'm not even sure. Is that local?
It was in Murphy.
Okay.
So just kind of east of Plano, right there. I owned it in
very familiar with
2008.
Murphy. Is it still there?
No, I sold it in 2011. I think it switched hands 2 or 3 times after that.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
gone.
So you've been Foundation for Choice since 2014 when you started it. Just give us a quick 1 minute and get kind of whet the appetite for our fourth segment.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're going to go back to concerts really fast, my first concert was MC Hammer.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so too legit to quit.
Well, we're basically the same
That's
age, so that
all
could have been
right.
my first concert. It wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah, I was at like a basketball game or something in Oklahoma City. But
Hold on
yeah,
a second, real quick. Sorry, Diane said. Oh, what was Diane's first concert? Diane, Neil McCoy at Wildflower Festival. Anybody? I'm out on that.
Don't know who that is. Sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah, but
no, I can't wait to see you next week too, Diane. I'm excited for our meeting. Awesome. Thank you. So Foundation for Choice. Choice is an acronym for consider how one individual changes everything. And it is just an unbelievable opportunity for low-income students to really gain access to skills and resources that they wouldn't necessarily have access to in the absence of our nonprofit. We have volunteer mentors that work one-on-one with each student. And I like to say it doesn't matter the age or stage of the mentor in our program. We wrote a curriculum, got a copyright on it in 2017. You can be 22 straight out of college and you know how to go to Apply Texas and get into college, or you can be 65 and you were just like me, although I'm not 65, but you went to your counselor's office and you got a stack of paper this high and you had to apply to school and mail it, with a stamp and go to the post office. And we really can walk you through every step of the way. Our students are unbelievable. And I say we don't like the 10% of students at the top because they're typically in the counselor's office kind of getting support. We don't want the 10% of students at the bottom because they're in the counselor's office for a different reason. And that's above my pay grade. But we want the 80% of students in the middle that are kind of going to get forgotten. And right now, school is almost over. And every single one of our seniors that are in our program are averaging over $60,000 each in college funding.
that's
And
incredible.
it's
That's
unbelievable what we're doing. And these are all low-income students. And what is low income? Low income is a family of 3 that's making $27,000 a year or less. So these kids would not have this opportunity in the absence of this program and these mentors.
Well, I can't wait to hear more about that, and really your story as well as how what led you to start that foundation. Like I said, we'll dive into that in our fourth segment. Let's bring on Angi Burns with Plano City Lifestyle, owner of Plano City Lifestyle, also getting ready to launch in some other communities, which we happen to have podcasts in, which is pretty awesome in our Rockwall community. So that's very exciting. Angi, you are a native Planoite, I found out, graduated from Plano Senior High School, and went on to do broadcasting, theater, education. So the Artsy magazine, that's kind of a good culmination of all your talents and your college dollars to work. So that works out well for you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I have to jump in on this concert
Okay, go
question,
for it.
though.
Go for it.
Because my first concert was Michael Jackson, but my
Ooh.
first one without parents was Boys to Men. So
Okay, that's the
right
same
there with
thing.
you with
Saw
the
that one too.
Both good choices. I've seen Boys of Midlife too.
Yeah, they were great.
Was this post-transformation Michael Jackson?
This was actually Jackson 5. We're all together. It was like the reunion tour thing. It was in the 80s, like the early 80s.
Okay. You look much younger than to go to a Jackson 5 concert in the 80s. So
Thank you.
congratulations
I will
on
take that as a compliment.
whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Well, let's bring on, we want to get into a little bit more of the magazine. We're going to have to go to break here in just a second, but I want to bring on Plano City Councilman Shelby Williams. Shelby has been a dear friend of the show. He has ran a great campaign. He's running for Plano GOP head.
Collin
He
County.
is Collin County, sorry. He had a runoff election. It was a great race, runoff election. Nobody likes to go to runoff, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. It's May 28th, Tuesday, May 28th. Early voting is up to a week in advance of the 21st, 28th. So we don't support parties on the difference, but we do support people that have been great friends of the show. And so if you know Shelby, or if you want to know Shelby, go out and see what he's about, what he stands for. He's a good man, and we're always excited to have him come on. He's going to pop in here right after the break and give us some updates on Plano that I think are going to be very pertinent to everyone. So stick around. We're going to go to commercial break. We will have in more with what Plano on the other side of the break, and then following that, our topic of the month. So stick around. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference Plano is made possible by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions, Jim Thomas, business consultant and business funding expert, Brenda Thompson with Home Smart Stars, Sonia Lowry with Gaston Investments and Development, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Asiya Mahmood with Windhaven Academy, Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel, and by Jacqueline Crider with PBJ Mortgage. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's Up Plano?
What's up, Plano? That is probably one of our favorite segments, because we get to talk about all the exciting things that are going on in the city at any given time. A lot of times we'll be sharing new events. Like today, we'll have city leaders on to give us some really pertinent updates. One event that I do want to share, if you'll pop it up here, if you guys like margaritas, if you like good music, if you like fun, who doesn't like fun? That's kind of a dumb question. Salt the Rim. We've been talking about this. We had Michelle Hawkins of Downtown Plano Instagram group on a couple weeks ago promoting this. It's just going to be a fun event. I'm going to try to make it out there after my kids go to bed, because it's 6 to 10:30 p.m., so that's perfect. Salt the Rim. It's at McCall Plaza. That's the big stage right to the right of the Fillmore Pub. And so it's celebrating, of course, Cinco de Mayo, which will be the next day. Music, margaritas, fun. It's going to be a fantastic event. So make sure, get a babysitter. It'd be a great date night. Do what you got to do to get out there. Come see us. Come take some pictures. It's going to be a fantastic time. Okay, so today we brought on Shelby. Now he's going to stick around and hang out with us a little bit after this, but he likes to come on periodically, time to time, and we ask him to share things that are pertinent to us as citizens, as business owners, obviously just what's happening around the city, and nobody really knows that better than Plano City Councilman Mr. Shelby Williams. So we're here today talking specifically about some short-term rental ordinances that were just passed, what they are, why they're important, what the issue has been, and then we want to bounce a couple of questions off you, because I know people will want to know, or they may have a hot opinion on that one way or the other. So take it away.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Nathan. It's always great to be on the Community Difference in Plano. I do have to weigh in on the concert thing first. Talking about cover bands, not to knock the Emerald City Band, which is a mainstay in the area, but the best cover band ever is Guns N' Roses, whose concert I have been to.
The Guns N' Roses experience is one of my favorite. We go every time they play anywhere around here.
So
Yep.
in our private chat before, Shelby sent something that's kind of funny. He goes, "You shouldn't talk about your first concert because that's a common security question for people." And I'm like, "Oh crap, that's a good point." But it's probably a little more secure than mother's maiden name. So
Yes.
if you had to go out there.
I was
Unless
gonna
we're
say the
talking about
security
a
questions are just awful. Like I like the commercial where they have the kid and he's picking the name for his dog, and the dad's like, "It's this really important decision because it's gonna be the answer to your security question for the rest of your life."
That's funny. That's funny. Angie, you said you know the leader. Who's the lead singer of Emerald City?
Oh, Bethany Lorenzen. So the little short, adorable, curly hair. She's actually a good friend of mine. I have a theater background, so she's choreographed and music directed a lot of shows that I've done, and she's my daughter's vocal coach. She's amazing.
I bet you know. I bet we have some other friends in common. Emerald City has been around forever. They've been through probably 500 band members over the last 20.
Yeah, they
20 years.
rotate, and then they have the sub bands too, like the smaller bands that are part of the Emerald City brand that go out to smaller functions like galas and things like that.
If you guys didn't know this, we talk about music a lot on the show, so that's really our theme today. No, I'm just kidding. Let's get back on topic here. So talk about short-term rentals, because obviously you think Airbnb, you think people coming to town. That's kind of what people, when they hear that term, what's what they're thinking about. So what's the new updates for Plano there?
Sure. So this has been really a couple of years in the making, but last week, Plano City Council passed 2 long-awaited ordinances regarding short-term rentals. So I'll give you some of the brief history first. This short-term rentals as an issue first popped up on my radar at the tail end of 2019, where there was, unfortunately, tragically, a murder at a party house in East Plano. And before that, I've used short-term rentals in vacation destinations, probably like everybody has. And short-term rentals have been a thing in beach towns, ski towns, Branson, places like that for a very long time, long before the advent of smartphones or platforms like Airbnb. It was the advent of those platforms like Airbnb that made it possible to bring them to places like Plano. There are legitimate reasons why somebody might want a short-term rental in Plano or a place like Plano, not least of which is because of all of the corporate headquarter relocations that we've got here into the area. People are scoping out their new home. They're scoping out neighborhoods before they move. And by the way, we define short-term rental as anything less than 30 days. There are also occasions where people visiting, especially from other countries, want to rent something for 2 weeks or so, and so that they're not holed up in a hotel. So there are some legitimate reasons, but in a place that is not a vacation destination, there are a lot of short-term rentals that are used as party houses. And that was the case at where this murder occurred in East Plano several years ago in 2019. A couple of years ago, the Texas Neighborhood Coalition started coming to city council meetings. And anybody who's seen me on this show or seen me elsewhere knows what a big advocate I am for citizens making themselves heard. They started coming to every city council meeting, speaking during comments of public interest, speaking about the disruptiveness of short-term rentals in their neighborhoods. These were largely people who had short-term rentals next door or nearby in their neighborhoods. And they told us, meeting after meeting, about how disruptive they were, how problematic they were. Some were party houses, some were mixed bags. Over the years, one of the things that has struck me most is that even if a short-term rental is next door or nearby and you never hear a peep, you still don't have a neighbor. And even the Plano, I said this at the council meeting last week, even the Plano police will say that for basic security, know your neighbors, the 3 in front of you, the 3 behind you, and the neighbors on either side. Well, with a short-term rental, you don't have a neighbor. And it's always a question mark. Is this weekend going to be the weekend that we have a problem? And then things came to a head about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, where there was another party house in Plano and 30 shots were fired. 30. One of the shots went through the window, this was at night, so thank God the little girl wasn't in there, but went through the playroom window of a toddler.
Yeah.
And enough was enough. We had already at the time been exploring what we could do legally and constitutionally to restrict short-term rentals, because they do erode the fabric of a neighborhood. You know, if it's one or two here or there, maybe it's not a big deal, but a lot of investors have been buying up properties and turning them into short-term rentals for several years now. And it's not just short-term rentals. There are a lot of investment properties bought as long-term rentals, but increasingly short-term rentals have been coming online such that they're eating away at the fabric of our neighborhoods. So, which in turn erodes.
Let me clarify
Go
something
ahead.
real quick. Sorry. So this is not like, you're not seeing, like I decide I want to buy a rental property, another house in Plano, and I want to rent it out to people that are coming into town. And, that's just, I'm making sure that's good quality people. You're not seeing a lot of that. You're seeing big organizations buy up a lot of homes, and they're often maybe even another state, and then they're just kind of renting those out with a lot of oversight. Is that what you're seeing more often?
That's correct. And maybe they'll have a local property manager. And I don't know that it's more often that it's like out-of-state investors. There are some people who own short-term rentals locally, or maybe just a little bit out of the area within Texas, but they're still short-term rentals. They're being rented for a night or two at a time, principally on weekends, as you might imagine, especially party houses. And the profitability for a short-term rental is there. If you've got, call it an average of 30 days in a calendar month, and you only rent it for 10 nights in that month, it seems like you're not going to turn a profit, but the per night rate for those is exorbitant. And so it is very profitable. And if they can get it for 15, 20 nights a month, hey, that's gravy. But they do have, and we got statistics on this, short-term rentals. There are a handful of absolute problem houses at the top of the complaint chart that result in a lot of calls to the police, and like they're habitual offenders. But even if you remove those from the equation, then a lot of short-term rentals on average, not everyone results in a problem, but on average result in almost 6 times as many calls for service to the police as your average home that somebody actually lives in. So they present an outsized share of complaints. I won't say crime, because not everything is like on a par with a shooting, but issues.
Yeah.
And
let me cut you there, because I know Jim had a question. In the private chat, Jim.
Yeah, Shelby, a couple questions that come to mind. Is this something that other communities are seeing as well and are taking the same kind of action?
Yes. In fact, this is to go a little sidebar about this. Legal action has been going on for the past 5 or 6 years in several area cities that have imposed restrictions or outright bans on short-term rentals, because this is a recurring problem. And it's not just in this area. This is coming up in places around the country. Arlington passed a restriction a few years ago. Southlake, likewise. The city of Dallas last year passed a ban on short-term rentals, and they even passed a ban prohibiting grandfathering of existing short-term rentals. That got subject to litigation. We are grandfathering the ones that already exist, but we are prohibiting new short-term rentals in areas that are zoned for single family, and we're restricting them in areas zoned for multifamily to 5% of units can be used as short-term rentals. We are also allowing them anywhere where hotels are allowed. A short-term rental is essentially a hotel without an elevator.
And how in the sense of homes and single family, how does homeowners association get involved in this, or how do they control that?
We had the collaboration of a lot of representatives from homeowners associations. Now, homeowners associations, they can pass things in their bylaws that are more restrictive than the city. And some of them had done so. But for
I was
many
gonna
of them,
say
it
a
was
lot of
too
them
late.
have.
They were
Yeah,
caught
a lot of them have.
flat-footed like we were, because this was never a thing we contemplated when we created our zoning ordinances decades and decades ago.
I was gonna say,
Appreciate it.
that's interesting though, the grandfathering situation. I don't know. That always fascinates me, the legality of all of that. Cause like I know that Frisco, like Old Town Frisco has a ton of short-term rentals because it's a popular place or whatever. And anytime you've got places sort of surrounding places that people want to be, like, if there's like a concert venue, things like that, etc. So how much pushback are you getting from local like investors and real estate agents on this front?
A little bit, not a lot. This dialogue has been recurring in Plano for the past couple of years now. And when we had this meeting last week, we're in Davis Library temporarily because the council chambers are being renovated to make it more ADA compliant, fix the acoustics, and fix the council dais so we're facing the audience and not each other. But I digress. We had the entire room in Davis Library filled with people for this, as well as our overflow room filled with people. I would say of the people who spoke, shooting from the hip, it was roughly 85% in favor of restricting or banning short-term rentals, and 15%-ish speaking in favor of property rights. And I'll say I'm a huge property rights advocate. And like I said at the meeting last week, I'm thinking about the property rights of the people who sought out an actual community in a neighborhood with neighbors to live in.
Right.
As the saying goes, the right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins.
I have a couple of questions too. Did short-term rentals contribute to the hot tax?
They do.
They do contribute. So they are essentially a hotel.
Yes, according to and there are two different classifications, which causes a lot of confusion. But yes, they do contribute to the hotel occupancy tax, which is kind of an explicit admission that they function as hotels. But in our zoning definitions, which is completely separate from taxation laws, in the zoning definitions, they did not technically qualify under our existing zoning categories like a hotel, motel, hotel. And that was by nuance, because for whatever reason, our zoning category for motel, hotel created decades ago specified that it must have daily maid service. I don't know why they wrote that in there, why that mattered, but it was in there.
There's a lot of actual hotels that have gone away from daily maid service. So that seems like it'll be sticky eventually.
Are you serious? That sounds terrible.
Sadly.
Yeah. Yeah, because of just
For green purposes.
sustainability.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
exactly.
Was there any discussion? I know you talked about a lot of these were, there's a couple of them that are huge problem issues, but then most of them are people coming in town for graduation and you don't have time or you don't have enough space in your home. They don't necessarily want to go to a hotel. And I know you said it was 30 days is what's being classified as short term. And a lot of the problems are coming from the ones that are 1 night, 2 night weekend rentals. What made the council decide on 30 days instead of maybe like 1 week minimum?
Well, first I want to correct something. It's not that most of the short-term rentals are from people like visiting family from out of town, just that that's one of the legitimate reasons people might get a short-term rental. There are a lot of short-term rentals taken out as party houses. We busted up a brothel at a short-term rental, never mind the shootings, drug exchanges, potential cartel activity. There are a lot of illegitimate reasons, but 30 days is what has been used as a standard in many cities across the country. So it's got a legal stake in the ground that allowed us to tie it to.
Okay.
A quick comment for you, Shelby.
Please.
Oh, go ahead, Nathan. Oh, I was just going to comment. I believe it was the city of Fort Lauderdale that they put out a notice a while back that they didn't want spring breakers coming to town because of how they treated the area when they got there. So, I hear what you're saying.
Yep. And I think we got a break soon. I'll also say that alongside this, we passed a short-term rental registration ordinance. So anybody who has an existing short-term rental that's grandfathered, anybody who wants a new short-term rental where they're permitted will have to register and re-register yearly. I can get into the nuances of that later.
Okay. Well, also, I mean, I think this is, I'm sure there's some people, you said about 15%, but it's good to know that it was mainly the vast majority of the people that were complaining or frustrated showed up. And this is not just, some, few people chirping, but this is actually a big issue that people are speaking their mind on. And so it sounds like, because, I don't know Lyndon's thoughts, but we were talking about this offline, your first thought is, well, how is that from a property rights standpoint? But then it also sounds like people are having their property rights invaded in a sense by someone else not respecting the rule of law at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, it kind of you have a lot of rights until you start infringing on someone else's rights, which just sounds like a lot of what's happening. So, guys, when we go to break, we're going to go to break. I should say we'll come right back. We'll dive into our topic, turning social media into service media. We're going to go into some simple strategies for expanding your social media presence. I cannot wait to get into this topic. Stick around. We'll be right back on Community Difference Plano.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Are you searching for fast, reliable, and affordable heating and air solutions in the Wiley, Sac C, Murphy, Garland, Rowlett, Levon, Richardson, Plano, and Allen areas of Texas? Then look no further than Martin Heating and Air LLC. With over 15 years of experience, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch service tailored to your specific needs. Don't let a broken HVAC unit ruin your comfort. Call us today at 469-380-9864 or visit our website to schedule an appointment. Martin Heating and Air LLC, your trusted partner for all your heating and air conditioning needs.
JP Direct Health offers affordable health insurance solutions for individuals, families, and small businesses specializing in custom coverages to fit your needs and budget. JP Direct Health offers comprehensive benefits, including PPO health plans, accident and critical illness coverage, dental and vision, health matching accounts, along with telehealth at no cost per call. Call JP Direct Health today to learn more about how we can help you protect your health and your budget.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
Frisco Fighters prepare to reach new heights at Comerica Center this spring. From competitive matchups to exciting theme nights, you won't want to miss a second of the action. Join us and experience high-scoring, hard-hitting indoor football that's fun for the whole family to enjoy. Visit FriscoFighters.com for game highlights, tickets, or to reserve your spot at the Tarmac Tailgate Party. Frisco Fighters, fly with us.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Now back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to get in right to the topic, turning your social media into service media, some strategies for expanding your social media presence. We got a great group of people that really do that in a lot of different areas, although we're all here to collaborate and get better at what we're doing. And I just want to kind of start off opening up to everybody. Let's just talk social media strategy for a second. when you guys are posting or whatever you do, whatever social media platform you're on, maybe multiple social media platforms, what is the ultimate goal? What do you feel like your goal is? Is it education? Is it just branding? Is it trying to drive some sort of story, or just a general community building atmosphere? Let's start with you, Jessica. Tell me, you're like, I don't have a strategy. I don't know. Do you have a strategy? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, and if you don't, that's okay. That's part of the reason we're having this conversation.
No, absolutely. I actually have an amazing staff member who focuses on our social media, and she creates kind of a consistent message. And I think that's really important, having kind of the same branding. I mean, a lot of those points that you mentioned, I think, are important: branding, education, and just kind of consistency. Right. And I would say that would be how we really focus on it. We're unique because we're a nonprofit. And it's funny, when I look at my personal social media page, if I post something about my family, or if I post something about what I'm doing out in the community, I always get a lot of likes. But when it comes to something that I post for my nonprofit, it's like, people are like, ooh, is she going to ask me for money? So people always seem to shy away from that.
What kind of stuff are you posting for your nonprofit?
Yeah, a lot about our students. We highlight our mentors. So we really just want to thank everyone that volunteers with the organization. And we have over sometimes 500 volunteers in any given year. So we couldn't do it without them. We really post a lot about our impact also, right? Like, look at what we're doing for these kids. But it's really anything that's important to our organization.
Jim, you're quite active on social media. I see that you don't post a ton about the gym business. Sometimes you do, but a lot of it's more motivational, just general business principles. What would you say your strategy is, if you could put it in a sentence or two?
In the big picture of it, so I'm on probably maybe every one of them at some level. But I focus primarily on LinkedIn, is where I really drive my message, and that's where the work goes. And largely, it's a branding strategy, it's an educational strategy, it's a problem-solving strategy. And then I have things like we can talk about that really support that, but that's really the focus of the kind of information we're trying to get out.
Okay. Jax, what about you?
Mine is incredibly education focused, but I try to do some of it through storytelling. It's a little more interesting when it's a story. I don't always have a story about everything that I talk about, but I really try hard to reach people. I mean, especially in our space, Nathan, as you know, there's like so many different facets to it. There's so many different things that are confusing to people. So what I try to do is break it down into like little bite-sized chunks and kind of express to people, the big highlights, right? The things that they should be looking out for, the pitfalls, stuff like that. Because otherwise it's just boring. I mean, I say it all the time. Mortgage is not the sexy part, the transaction. You need us, but you don't want to need us, right? Like, you don't wake up in the morning and say, man, I want to borrow $500,000. I want to borrow $500,000 today. But you do say, I want to buy a house. You don't have $500,000 sitting in your bank account. So you need us. So we do a lot of that. And then we post to all the platforms. So any possible platform where there might be my ideal client, I post to it, just because you just don't know where the eyeballs are. You know what I mean? And we try to watch metrics. So I try to see if videos are doing well, not well. So maybe I need to try some other tactics, but we do a lot of like educational type content through storytelling.
So, we talk, and we've kind of shared some strategies on the general social media platforms and how we do certain things and how we post and the content. But the topic is social media, turning social media into service media. So how do we take what we're doing, our strategies, and recreate it or rebrand it, or either put content out there that is really becoming more of a service, serving some community, serving some group, serving some greater good that is beyond just the social aspect of social media. That's a little redundant, obviously. But and here's what I mean by that. One of the things that you can do, and this is kind of something as I'm thinking through this topic for this week and this month, empathy-driven content, okay? what is your target audience's pain points? Okay.
Absolutely.
Obviously in the mortgage industry, there's a lot of pain points, right?
There is, yeah.
As a city councilman, Shelby's got a whole host of pain points for 400,000 citizens, right? Gyms, in the business world, people struggling, they don't have the funding, their gym is failing, their business is failing, they don't know what to do. And obviously in the nonprofit world, you've got the pain points of just the whole point of that nonprofit is trying to get people out of a life that's going one way and trying to redirect it to another place. So we have, I think, the ability to post and create content that serves that good. So when I say service media, do you guys feel like you have a good grasp on that, or that you're doing that, or is there room for improvement? Let's start with you, Angi.
So I think there's a lot of ways to look at the service media aspect, depending on what your business is going to differentiate how you approach that. So for instance, with my business, so the magazine that we produce is all about spreading positivity, support, and inclusivity in the community, celebrating the wins of everyone. But our clients are the advertising sponsors. So what we have done is we've taken an approach where the brand awareness comes from the publication. The brand awareness comes from our digital platforms, but our social media, we're really trying to introduce the people behind the businesses and why they do what they do. So we do a series of commercials that we produce for all of our clients that allow them to share their why and that allow them to share the impact that they make. So people get to know them and get to know who they are instead of just, oh, I'm a mortgage broker, or, oh, I'm a realtor, or I have this business, but why do you have this business? Who are they? Because people are going to do business with people that they know, they like, and that they trust. And if you don't know who the person is behind the business, then it's just a logo. And so we've really taken the approach with our social media of building the relationships between the viewers and our readers and our clients. So that's kind of one of the aspects that we've taken with it. And then educational. There's so much you can learn. Like YouTube is taken over. Like if you have something to fix in your house, YouTube it. If you need to figure out how to solve a problem with the other day, I couldn't figure out how to cast my computer onto my television. And I was like, oh, YouTube it. So you can figure out anything educationally through social media platforms as well. So learning how that would benefit your clients or your business and the community as a whole is a great way to capitalize on that.
You said something that I think sums up really a lot of our goal here with the difference in our podcast is not so much just talking about our businesses, but the community building aspect. You talk about, like, who are these people behind these businesses? There's 1,000 mortgage people, there's 1,000 roofers, there's even 1,000 nonprofits, right? Why is Jessica and what she's doing so special?
Right.
What makes Jax different, right? There's a lot of community magazines. Why is Angi doing something different? Who is she? What drives people? And it's that community building kind of storytelling combination. Jax, go ahead.
What I was going to say is that I think that there is a service in that and of itself. By doing social media, you are connecting with people and you're showing them who you are and what you stand for, like Angi said. And then that allows you to attract the people that are your people. Because I say it all the time, especially to newer loan officers, people that I train and things like that. Not everybody is your client. Like, you think they are. When you start out in business, you're like, yeah, man, I want to help everybody and whatever. And yes, that's a great goal. But the truth of the matter is like, not everybody is everyone's cup of tea, right? Just like we have friends and you meet another friend and you're like, man, that's not really my person. Like, that's okay, right? I mean, it sounds horrible, but it's just the truth. And I say all the time, like, by me putting myself out there in social media, people are recognizing and realizing what PBJ Mortgage stands for, what we are looking to do, and what we're looking to accomplish. And if that's not what you're about, like, that's okay. I'm okay with that, right? Like, I don't have to be your people.
What does it stand for?
You're gonna love
Is it peanut butter and jelly? What is PBJ?
PBJ Mortgage, making mortgage simple as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? It's supposed to be less scary that way.
I use that same analogy with, not everybody is your cup of tea. I was in education for almost 20 years before I started doing this. And I always tell my clients, it's like, I didn't get to choose the students in my classroom, or more importantly, their parents that I had to deal with on a daily basis. But I do get to choose the
Amen.
clients that I work with. And so I'm only going to choose the ones that I know put, people over profit, and that operate with integrity and want to be a part of the community and want to be a part of a partnership. And that's really what I focus on. And I think social media is a great way to learn more about who you're working with before you actually get into a partnership with them. Because if you go on their social media, personally or professionally, and it's a hot mess express and they're just ranting and raving and they've got all these negative reviews of people, and you're just like, okay, you're a lot and I don't have time for that in my life. So I'm not going to partner with you. But if you put them on there and they're supporting other people and they're empowering other women business owners, is a huge part of my heart. And they're actually supporting and lifting people up, and they understand that it's collaboration over competition. And if they get that, then I'm like, you're my people. And you can see a lot of that through the way they utilize their social media as well.
Well, and see what Lyndon said in the chat. I don't know if you see that, Nathan. Like we are a resource to everybody in the community, right? Not just the people who are needing our services right this second. And because you don't need a mortgage very often, you just don't. Like, you don't buy a house every day. So how can I be a resource? How can my information help you? What'd you say?
I said, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
That'd be quite a process.
It would be. You would not love your life every day if you had to do that all the time.
You're right, because, especially, depending on your business, mortgage is great. You're not, most of the people that are on your social media are not needing what you're doing at any given time. So that in your particular case, Jax, I mean, growing your presence and I call it a service media presence, to where you become a connector, you become someone that just has their finger on the pulse of the community, that they know what's happening. They're sharing, inspiring stories. I mean, it's a lot of, again, what we try to do on the show here, but that puts you as an expert, not only in mortgage, but in other areas that could bring, obviously it could bring, additional opportunities for you as a person, as a business owner, but just the sheer act of connecting people and giving to give is going to elevate you and your behavioral brand, your personal brand, but it just does good, right? It's just good to do good. Well,
I was gonna say, and remind yourself, like, a lot of times what I do and what you do for a living, they're so complicated, and people are really afraid to ask questions. Like, I've learned this over time. I mean, I don't think that I'm a scary person. I hope you guys don't feel like I'm a scary person, but
only at 8 a.m.
Yeah, well, that's true. At 8 a.m. I am a scary person. That is very true, Nathan. But other than that, like, I encourage people to give us a phone call, but a lot of times they just won't. So if I'm not doing my part by putting the information out there and helping them and help them understand, like, at least if they're not willing to call me and ask a question, or, myself or my team, then at least they can go ahead and they can get that information there.
Yeah.
Shelby, were you going to say something?
Yeah. Professionally, I do marketing strategy, as well as digital transformation, and content is king. It's been said for many, many years. And it's true, because especially, and it's critical for long-term brand building, which especially in a business like yours, Jax, people don't need a mortgage daily, very infrequently. But when they do, you want the brand to have already been built in their minds, so that when they're like, okay, I have questions, they immediately think Jax. The only way that happens isn't by seeing stuff come across their social media feed saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's by offering content that they find genuinely useful, helpful, and educational. And maybe they don't need it for another 5 years, but when they do, that sense of usefulness and trust is already built in. And that's what brand building is. And if you're going to compete with, I spent many years competing with Amazon on behalf of my clients in digital commerce. So you don't compete with Amazon at their own game. You have to differentiate yourself via your brand. Otherwise, you're going to try to commoditize availability of product and delivery, and you're not going to compete with Amazon unless you're Walmart.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
Yeah. And, I would say, really, who are you targeting, right? Like, what's the age group that you're targeting? Because then that really is going to depend on which social channel you're using, right? If you're trying to target younger generation, unfortunately, that's the TikTok users, right? But Facebook is going to be probably that 30 plus, 35 plus generation. And I think a lot of social media is really going to videos. So if you're not using those short videos and grabbing their attention within that first, quite frankly, 5 to 10 seconds, you're going to lose them. So what can you do in a video? Can you do something crazy and wacky in a 5 to 10 second video to garner someone's attention? Because if not, I go on to the next video.
That's how I see those council recap videos.
Right.
Angie, I know you wanted to chime in. We're going to go to break here. We'll just pick up that last comment on the other side, and then we'll switch right into just getting to know our guests and our co-hosts, get to know their stories, right? We'll get an idea of some perhaps some content that they'll be posting later on as we talk and dive in more to who they are and what inspires them in their journey on the other side of this break. So stick around. We'll be right back.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
Welcome back. We're going to carry over just a little bit of our topic because we had a couple other things to get to before we start just really getting to know our guests and our co-host. Welcome back from the commercial break. Thank you again to all of our sponsors, as always. Just excited to be a part of what we're doing here. Jessica, you mentioned something about the video is really kind of keying, and that's true for SEO rankings. If you have a lot of YouTube, and that's why obviously we broadcast to YouTube and Facebook, Spotify, other areas as well. But it's that YouTube video, the short specifically, that are skyrocketing SEO rankings. And so for us specifically, ever since we started creating shorts and reels of these shows for our co-hosts, which is part of the content creation strategy of our larger business development platform, we've seen not only our reach, but our co-host reach and their SEO rankings have been skyrocketing as well. And that's, so that's pretty cool because you're getting to accomplish a lot of things at the same time by just networking here on air. You guys are doing some networking in the private chat, like our viewers can't even see it, which is pretty awesome. But just the content that's created here, the topics that we get to discuss, and then obviously spend a lot of time getting to know each other. And so what's really interesting, as I've seen in the break, is this is a kind of clinic in a sense of what service media looks like. It's putting yourself out there in order to help bring a collaborative effort to meet people's needs, empathize where they're at, educate on some solutions that you can bring, obviously, but also just say here I am as a resource to help make this community a better place. And so we're kind of doing that synergistically live, but that's really a good formula in a sense for social media strategies. Angie, wrap us up, put a bow on that segment, if you will, before we go into our fourth segment here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm kind of piggybacking on what Jessica said and Shelby said, Jim said, what everybody kind of said in that last segment. But but brand awareness is what everybody is going after. That's the key, keeping you top of mind, keeping your brand out there. But you don't ever want to feel like you're advertising. You don't want to feel like you're pushy. You don't want to feel like you're saying, buy something from me. Like Jessica was saying earlier, like, oh no, she's going to ask me for money. So the more content that you can give out that's authentic and organic, and it's giving helpful, useful information, but it's keeping your name, your brand top of mind, is how you're really going to get a return on that investment with any type of social media marketing. And knowing your demographic, knowing who your target audience is, and what the different target audiences are for the different social media platforms. So most social media targets 21 to 45-year-old middle class. So if your target audience is older than that, you're going to want, Facebook is probably the only one that reaches that older demographic. But YouTube has come a long way with a lot of different people. But knowing the differences between the different platforms and what that is to your target audience is a huge one. And doing collaborations with other business owners and people in the community, because it is those backlinks. It's the cross links that are going to organically boost your search engine optimization and boost your algorithms within all of the platforms. So the more you can get on other people's sites where they verify you as a valid business that they are willing to partner with, then Google's going to trust you also. And so that's what's going to boost you higher in those algorithms. So I would just say, collaborate, and put your name and business anywhere you can. And that's what's going to be the best business wise. But then getting out as much valuable content to the community as possible to show that you're actually here to serve and not just to be narcissistic and say, look at me, look at me.
Right. So I lied to you, Angie. You did a great job wrapping it up, but Jim asked, he wanted to say something real quick. So sorry about that. You did a phenomenal job. I'll let Jim put the final bow, just that last little bit of the package.
Actually, Angie did great. I mean, gosh, I should have recorded that and played that for our clients.
I have a recording. Don't worry.
Well, it is recorded, so you can go back and.
I think I will slice it up and it'll be out there.
Jim.
And so I think video.ai, we'll just carve that out. And so, but what I was going to say, we've had this conversation before, is that the biggest issue, number one issue of small business is what? It's obscurity. People don't know who you are, and people that do don't have you at top of mind. And, I talk to a lot of business owners about this very topic, and social media. Hey, it's free. It's free. Push it out there. Let's do it. Jim, it's not working. It's not working. It's not working. Well, guess what? It's enormously competitive. I actually looked it up before we went on the air. On average, a consumer sees 10,000 ads per day. And what our job is to break through. Our job is to break through that noise. And it's not always a popular thing to say, but what I tell people, you almost have to over promote. And when you I'm not talking about putting them in a headlock. I'm talking about, content that solves problems, that provides solutions, that can help them. I was talking to a client yesterday. I said, oh, by the way, do you get my newsletter? She goes, I've been getting it forever. I copy it off. I give it to all of our staff. And as a final little note on that, I had someone who called me up a while back. They're in the state of Florida. They wanted help. I said, by the way, how'd you happen to hear about me? Jim, I've been receiving your newsletter for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And the message would be, you have to take a high level of action and you have to stick with it. That's my button up, but I followed up some great information there.
Dude. Well, let's shift gears here. We've got a couple of minutes. I want to just get to, I'm not gonna stop a good discussion of our topic, and so we may not get into as depth with our guest and our co-host today. But there is a question that I want to throw around to everybody real quick. And we've got about 3 or 4 minutes before our last break, so just try to make it pretty quick if you can, maybe 45 seconds or less. But just what is the most rewarding aspect of your work? And then on the other side of that, what's the most challenging? Let's start with you, Jessica.
Yeah. Did you say most rewarding of your work? Is that what you?
Of your work, what you do, and then the most challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the most rewarding thing for me is that I don't work really, right? I mean, I get to change lives. And that's unbelievable. I actually just had a student, and I'll try to keep it to 45 seconds, who graduated from our program a couple years ago, and he reached out on LinkedIn and said, Jessica, thank you so much. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. He graduated from A&M. He works at a really large bank in engineering, and he just joined the Marine Corps, and he just had a baby, and he's married to his wonderful wife. And so I get to do that, and I get to change lives. And he would not have had that opportunity in the absence of us, right? The most challenging thing is staff. Oh my goodness, employees are hard. And so that is always going to be a challenge, however, because you have to remember no one's going to love your business like you do. But in this day and age after COVID, no one wants to work either, which is really weird. It's like you collect a paycheck and you do little to minimal work. I'll never understand it. But, once you find that great employee, which we've got one right now who I'm going to name drop her, Colleen Mears. She is amazing. And I couldn't do anything without her. So when you have that great one, you just don't let them go.
Yeah. Awesome. Angi, same thing to you.
Yeah, I think the most rewarding aspect for me is that everything that I deal with is positive. It is all about supporting and celebrating the wins. So we do a nonprofit of the month, a student of the month, the first responder of the month, and we really get to meet the people who are making a difference in our community and who are by and large like the heart and soul of Plano. And I also own Allen. And so I get to meet some really, really cool people. I get to go to a lot of really exciting events with different nonprofit galas and making connections with my business partners who are our advertising sponsors. And then I get to connect them with people that they can help, whether that's a resident or an organization within our community, making those connections and then seeing everybody have like a fruitful, prosperous, beneficial relationship, and connecting those synergy partners and just being able to be a positive connector is probably my favorite thing. And then I'd say the most challenging is getting people to understand that marketing is a marathon and not a sprint, and that they're not going to get immediate ROI the next day. And that it is all about various impressions. You have to have a psychology of marketing is, 8 impressions in 6 various contexts before somebody will believe the validity of a brand. So just getting people to understand that print is not dead. If it's very well done print, it doesn't go in the trash can. And that we do more than just print. And so a lot of those just myths in marketing and contradicting those to clients and people understanding that, they recognized you because you've had your brand in multiple places and you didn't just put all your eggs in one basket, even though they're always going to say Google. Where did you hear about me? Google. Well, they wouldn't have Googled you, or you wouldn't be ranking where you are on Google if it weren't for all of the other things you were doing in your marketing campaign. So that's probably my biggest challenge, is just getting away from the stigmas.
Shelby, in a different vein, as a city councilman, what is the most rewarding aspect of what you do? And then we could probably guess some challenges, but if you want to share those as well.
Well, they're twofold. I'll start with the challenges, and I'll say it's doing the work, the research, and doing the homework to understand all of the nuances for the issues we have to vote on and in the community, like short-term rentals. The most rewarding aspect is actually making all that research, information, and understanding available to the public in an easy to understand way. You know that I publish a layman's terms preview of every council meeting beforehand, and I do a video recap after. One of the biggest compliments I ever got was from a councilman way out in West Texas who reached out to me wanting to understand my budget analysis, said he subscribes to my YouTube channel. And people find that information genuinely useful, and that's incredibly rewarding.
I love that. And you really do a good job of. I watch your videos, and I appreciate them because they make it. I am the guy that watches the whole city council meeting from time to time. There's probably not a ton of those people out there, but I do like the recap version. It's much better. So I appreciate that. very much. All right, we're going to go to our last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hit our rapid fire segment. Ask the question, the fastest answer possible. If you ramble on, we're going to lovingly buzz you, and then we'll all laugh, and it'll be fun together, and then we'll have our final thoughts. So stick around. We'll give some love to the sponsors. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference Plano is made possible by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions, Jim Thomas, business consultant and business funding expert, Brenda Thompson with Home Smart Stars, Sonia Lowry with Gaston Investments and Development, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Asiya Mahmood with Windhaven Academy, Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel, and by Jacqueline Crider with PBJ Mortgage. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready? Rapid fire.
I am ready for rapid fire. Hope everybody else is. We're going to just start right off the bat here. Quickest answer you possibly can give. What's the latest book that you've read that you could not put down? Let's start with Jessica.
Yep. Any book by James Heyman. I'm in audiobooks right now.
Okay. Jax.
Happy Pocket Full of Money.
Okay. Angie.
I'm not a big reader. I'll do audio, but Plano City Lifestyle.
Okay. Shameless plug there. I like it. Jim.
I am rereading Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Excellent. You can never read that too many times. I love that. Shelby.
Gettysburg, A Testing of Courage.
Awesome. I want to find out more about that.
Good one for you right now, Shelby.
If you could eat one cuisine for the rest of your life, what would that be? One cuisine for the rest of your life. Angie.
Chicken fettuccine Alfredo.
Oh, man. Jax.
Soup.
Okay. That's pretty big. Jessica.
Fried rice.
Okay. I did not expect that. I like that. Jim.
Fajitas from Blue Goose.
I love that. I'm gonna go with steak and any kind of vegetable. Shelby.
Ribeye steak.
Ribeye. Okay, we're on the same page there. Okay. All right. Last one. If you could meet any historical figure, we're gonna say that they're no longer living. Who would that be? And I'll give you. We can do it. Who would that be and why? So keep it under like 2 sentences. Who would that be and why? Jim.
I'll say Abraham Lincoln, and I think he went through some tough times when he was president. I'd love to hear what he had to say.
He kind of speaks for himself. I like that. Shelby.
I'd have to go with Jesus Christ because I'm a devout Christian.
Okay, that's good. He's also alive now. I don't want to ruin the end of the story, but
good distinction.
Yeah. Okay, just letting you know. Jessica.
Those are two really good ones, and I would totally pick those also. However, I'm going to say like my great-great-grandfather who moved to America and find out like the truth as to why he did and why he changed our last name.
I love that. Okay, Angie.
I would say Ruth Ginsburg because she was really a trailblazer for women and women's rights, and I'd love to pick her brain.
Okay, Jax.
I would say Albert Einstein because the book that I just recently read gets a little bit into quantum physics, and I want to pick his brain a little more.
For me, it's George Washington because obviously first president, but just leadership and his rules for conducting himself that he wrote, just phenomenal guy. I couldn't wait to talk to him. Okay, so I'd love to get to more rapid fire. We had such a great conversation for our topic. We went a little long there, but there's really not long when you're having a great discussion. So literally, guys, 30 seconds. Let's wrap it up. Your final thoughts. 30 seconds. What do you want us to know? How do we get in contact with you? 30 seconds. Let's start with you, Shelby.
I do serve on Plano City Council. You can subscribe to all those updates I spoke about. I am also currently running for Cullen County Republican Party chair in the runoff election for Tuesday, May 28th. Early voting is just 1 week, 5 days, May 20th through 24th.
Awesome. Jessica.
Yeah. Info@foundationforchoice.org is a great way to get a hold of our organization. I'm just really honored to be here and to continue to change lives. So if you want to get involved, mentor, become a business champion, and we do need donations. But I promise I won't ask you first.
I love it. You might have found some new volunteers, so that's
I
good.
know. I'm so excited.
And the kids,
Jim?
Jessica Burtnick, are fantastic.
Yeah, Shelby's come and spoke to some of our kids. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Jim, final thoughts.
Yeah, final thought would be anyone who's looking to open a new business, you're pre-revenue, you're just getting started, we can help with funding.
Jax?
So you can reach out to myself or my team. If you go to pbjteam.com, you can book a call or you can email us, whatever works for you. I would just say anybody who has got questions in the mortgage space. So whether it be buying a new home, refinancing, maybe you're going through a divorce, we're here to help be information for you.
And Angi.
Yeah, so Plano City Lifestyle is just citylifestyle.com/Plano. So check out the website. We also have Plano City Lifestyle on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to be added to our distribution list, if you don't get it already, it's free. You just have to email us. My email is angie.burns@citylifestyle.com. I don't have an E on my name because I have to be complicated. But we would love for anybody in the community to nominate Students of the Month, First Responder of the Month, or Nonprofit of the Month. And if you're a local business owner that wants to learn about our marketing partnerships and what all we do there, I'd love to chat with you there as well.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure hosting today. Of course, my name is Nathan Smith with the Enfuego Group. If you're looking to transition out of the corporate world to make that step into the world of entrepreneurism, it does not have to be painful, doesn't have to be difficult. Love to have a conversation with you about that. There's opportunities to serve and to be compensated well for building something great. So love to have that conversation with you. Also, shout out to Vanessa Cole. She's our newest co-host on our Wiley group. We got a chance to have happy hour or to hang out. Was that yesterday, day before, Tuesday? No, it was yesterday. I don't know what it was, but it was I think it was yesterday.
It was Monday.
Was it Monday? Okay. Well, thanks, Lyndon. But phenomenal, great meeting with her. I think we're going to actually have her on this show, as a guest before she does her first co-hosting in Wiley. So that'll probably be, I think, the third or fourth week this month. But again, shout out to all of our guests. Thank you so much, Angie. Looking forward to connecting offline with you and continue to build a relationship with Jessica. And of course, as always, thank you to Shelby, to Jim, to Jax. It's been such a great show. If you have not joined the Community Difference Facebook page, the Community Difference Facebook page, Community Difference Plano is what it's called. And we invite our guest on today. If you have not done that, do that. Send it out. Invite a bunch of friends to be a part of what we're doing, guys. The things we talked about, the collaborative efforts of our social media individually is what our goal is as the difference, kind of as a collaboration, cooperation with our community leaders, our citizens, our business owners, our nonprofits. And so if you see the value in what we talked about and what we're doing, we'd love to get to know you better, have you on the show, but just come be a part of everything that's going on in Plano. That is our time. We'll be right back here same time next week with a whole new group of amazing guests and co-hosts. Again, stick around, 11:30. We will see you then next Wednesday. Thanks for popping by. Have a great week.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Plano is made possible by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions, Jim Thomas, business consultant and business funding expert, Brenda Thompson with Home Smart Stars, Sonia Lowry with Gaston Investments and Development, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Asiya Mahmood with Windhaven Academy, Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel, and by Jacqueline Crider with PBJ Mortgage. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference.